What up, what up? Welcome on in to Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we get you ready for another busy weekend in Baylor Athletics. We'll talk hoops and focus in on our Olympic sports as it's a big weekend ahead for Baylor softball and Baylor baseball as conference play begins and indoor track and field NCAA Championships also get underway. All that more coming up on the show. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and also on our Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod, and follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Thank Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Sign up for your free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Thursday, March 7th, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside Senior Associate AD for Student Athlete Success, Corey Bolts. Corey, how you doing? It's a spring break this week. How you doing?
It's a wonderful week for us. It's quiet. Not that I don't love my students, but I appreciate the opportunity to be uninterrupted and really use the week to knock some stuff out. So we're doing good. A lot of our team is not here, so it feels like a desert zone a little bit, but that's what this time is for. It's for an opportunity to take a break and recharge so that we're fueled up and ready to go for the rest of the week. So I'm good. Lots of softball happening. But other than that, it's been a good week so far, and the weather is beautiful. So we're just enjoying it. We're enjoying it.
Corey, we are working. What's the matter with us? Spring break.
Literally, like maybe we didn't get the memo. Is the issue Justin? Everybody else is off, loving the beach, enjoying time, and we're here enjoying each other, which is always fun. Like I love opportunities to talk with you and connect with you. But we're working. Hopefully the work feels a little different though. Like I'm working, but I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. I'm not normally this casual on a Thursday in the office. So try to make it feel a little different despite the fact that I got some work I need to do. But it's in our space anyway. I can't speak for other departments in our athletics department, but for our Student Athlete Center for Excellence, it definitely feels different. The parking lot is a little less crowded and we're able to just be productive. And I think that's one of the things I appreciate about breaks like this is my opportunity to lock in, have my music playing and be productive for a couple hours. And then nobody's here. So you might decide you want to leave at 3:00 and give yourself an early release. That's what you should do today, Justin. You should say, all my work is done. And if it isn't, that's okay, because my spring break is happening this afternoon and I'm going to give myself a break. I think you should do it.
My wife would like me to say that, but there's meetings on the calendar. Okay, I can't.
Just reschedule them.
Meetings.
Nobody needs those meetings. Reschedule them.
Okay, there's some deadlines attached to some of these meetings with some graphics. But any event, I will say it's a good segue because you're talking about productivity, and March Madness really officially begins for the Big 12 Conference today with the Big 12 Championships getting underway for the women in Kansas City. And I'll say this much, Corey, I'm least productive this month. This is a really difficult month. All these games going on. You can watch it on your phone now. It's just very distracting.
Yeah, I won't be getting anything done in the next couple of weeks. So that's why I needed this week to be as productive as possible. March is my favorite time of year for a variety of reasons. But one particularly as a basketball fan is March Madness. And I typically have a TV in my office, so I'll have the games on in here and members of our team will come watch it. We still do our jobs. I don't want people to think we're not working, but it's real hard to be productive because there's so much good basketball happening. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the Big 12 Championships this week and next week for the men and women, and then look forward to seeing how everything shakes out in terms of the seeding and what that means for both of those programs. But it's about to be a fun couple of weeks, and I know it makes it a very busy season for your side of the house, Justin, but man, it'll be good. I think a lot of people across the country, their productivity is going to be on a slight decline as everybody is tuned in to some fun games and some great competition and trying to predict upsets and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be a fun couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah, hopefully if you're listening or watching right now and you're at one of those desks where your boss can see over your shoulder, maybe get you a different desk for the next couple of weeks because you got to try to get those games on. And, of course, Baylor being hot and heavy in it, and a great opportunity ahead for both these teams. For your staff, We don't bet, obviously, here as a
No.
official athletics department staff. However, you can do some bragging rights and things like that. Do y'all do a pool?
Oh yeah. We're a team of competitive people, so we absolutely do one. And we're equitable. So we do it for the men and women's bracket. I'm big on that. We got to do it for both. I'm a women's basketball fan, as all of our listeners know. But yeah, we do it. And I haven't won yet, so clearly my selections aren't the best. 6 years here, still haven't won a bracket, but it's a lot of fun, and it's fun. Back to my upsets piece, that's the piece that our team really gets into. Like, who predicted the upsets, and did you call it right? The ultimate winners of the bracket isn't as big as like the percentage of your bracket that's correct. Like, we don't really hear about who picks the winners, but how much of this did you get correct? Was your bracket 95% correct? Was your bracket busted because you just got it all wrong? So that'll be some fun times for us, and hopefully I can be the one that's winning this year, but we'll see. Do y'all
Yeah,
do it?
yeah, we do it as well for bragging rights. I'll say this
Mm-hmm.
much. Doing the podcast this year, I think, both of us are closer to the action than ever before, following these other
Mm-hmm.
teams outside of just Baylor. So maybe it helps us, but I also think that might hurt us because I haven't won either. And, I think the more
The worse it
of
is.
course, yeah, it's just, that doesn't make sense.
Mm-mm. What you should do, Justin, you should have your child do the bracket for you, and I guarantee you that'll be a winning bracket. Guaranteed. I don't have them pick it. However, like, just put some different things in front of them and have them randomly select winning bracket.
That's crazy. It's crazy, but it's a great time of the year. And I think really from now until the first weekend, I think that first weekend is my favorite weekend of March Madness, for both sides, men and women. I think the women too, the parity is at an all-time high. So I think this year's tournament,
Mm-hmm.
obviously a lot of eyes are on Caitlin Clark and things like that. So naturally, the women's basketball tournament, I think, could have more viewers and best ratings of all time. But yes, we do both brackets over here, and it's not like I do better on one or the other. I just do bad on both. But anyway, let's move forward. So the women, they wait for the winner of Texas Tech and Houston. They'll
Mm-hmm.
open up their Big 12 championship on Friday at 11 a.m. I know they've been practicing some early practices because a lot of 11 a.m. games on their side of the bracket, they're going to have a couple. And so that's a
Mm-hmm.
unique challenge, right, Corey, to get the body clock a little different. We have a lot of games on weeknights that we're playing at 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Exactly. And I think it's important to get that body clock right because our team is accustomed to playing in the evenings, even if it is in the middle of the week. And 11 a.m. is way different than a 6 p.m. And to have your body ready to go, to have your mind ready to go, it requires an early morning start. And you don't want to be lax at all when that tip off happens. And you want to make sure that everybody is all in, just like it was a 6 or 7 or 8 p.m. tip. So it'll be critical for our team to get in that rhythm. I know that Coach Nikki and her staff are appropriately preparing them for that, but it'll be a little bit different and it requires a different level of preparation.
And remember, they're the number 5 seed entering the tournament. That really doesn't matter much right now. You put the seeds aside, everybody's 0-0. And so go get that trophy. And we had said on yesterday's show with Caitlin that, it's one of those deals, no pressure, right? People don't think you're going to
Mm-hmm.
win as a 5 seed. So go out there and go get that trophy. And so begins tomorrow for the women at 11 a.m. Once again, playing the winner of Houston, Texas Tech, 11 a.m. game time. Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. And then the quarterfinals, if Baylor's able to move past the second round, they would play Iowa State also at 11 a.m. on Saturday. And then the semis, 1:30. And then the championship game is next Tuesday, 8 o'clock on ESPN2. So a lot of excitement there. Going to be a lot of fun. Over on the men's side, they still have a game to go in the regular season. Texas Tech on the road, coming off a couple big wins against Kansas and Texas. The Foster was rocking.
Yes.
Really fun to finish out the year there at the Foster with 2 big-time wins.
Extremely fun. And I think about how you want, I mean, that was senior night for a good number of our guys and how you want your senior night to feel and to be. And being able to conclude it in that way, come from behind win, and to do it in such a dramatic fashion, and the crowd behind them and all of that. Yeah, that's a special one. That's a special one. And my hope is that they ride that momentum into, like you mentioned, Justin, the last game that they have, and then on into the tournament. But I just loved that, and it was extra special for me seeing Jonathan and knowing his journey and his story, and for that to be his experience for his last regular season game, along with the other seniors. But I had a different connection with him, so it was just a special night, and I'm glad. They had me a little nervous at the beginning, and I'm glad that they were able to pull it out and end that with a dub for sure. That was good.
Yeah, and if you want to go check out that full senior recognition from the pregame all the way up until the end of the game and hear from each of those players, you can also go on BaylorPlus.com. We got the full link thing. I think it's about 8-9 minutes there. So exciting to watch that. But yes, the men taking on Texas Tech, 5 o'clock on Saturday, that game on ESPN2 out in Lubbock to end the regular season. Of course, the men right now, 3-game winning streak for them. The women on a 5-game winning streak. Both teams really playing some of its best basketball. And then the men, they'll play in the Big 12 championship next week and really kind of lock up the 3 seed there soon with the Texas Tech win. And also, most people think that there'll be a 3 seed or better with a win against Texas Tech in the big tournament, the big dance. And so a lot coming up these next couple of weeks with both these teams. Of course, we'll have eyes on them. And not only those sports, though, going underway. Big weekend. Let's start with Baylor softball. A big weekend. Oklahoma State coming in. And I'll say this much, man, the latest polls for softball, you think about Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas. I mean, 3 teams in the top 4. Softball in the Big 12 is a big place. And I love this, though, because there's great opportunity for Baylor to move up the polls. Once again, we've talked about this many times. Softball's got a lot of different polls. One of the polls I saw, 19. You want to move up, you beat some of these teams, and a great opportunity ahead this weekend.
It absolutely is. And one of the things that, and you mentioned it, Justin, one of the things that's so cool about softball in the Big 12 is the level of competition and talent. And I don't know, I mean, I would have to pull the stats on this, but I don't know how many other conferences have had the top 3 of the top 4 rankings or 3 of the top 5 rankings. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And to think that we have the opportunity to compete against them and give them some L's to help ourselves move up. And Coach Moore talks all the time about RPI and the importance of the quality of competition, not just having competition. So as we prepare to enter season, from a conference standpoint, it'll be a big weekend for our team, and it'll be a good test for the team. And I love that we get the opportunity to have Oklahoma State at home. We'll travel to Oklahoma, but to have Oklahoma State at home is fantastic. To split games with Texas is fantastic. So you'll get the benefit of your home field, the home fans, to be able to create an atmosphere that'll hopefully will our student athletes, along with their own internal desires, but will them to a win, and get some significant wins for them to be able to position them well for postseason. So I'm excited for it. I'm very much looking forward to it, and it'll be a test. All of Big 12 is a test. There are very few teams in our league that aren't going to be tough competition. They may not be ranked right now, but it doesn't mean that they won't be tough competition. So we can't go to sleep at the wheel. And it's just like the conversations we're having about basketball, both men and women. We can't go to sleep at the wheel from a softball standpoint. And this weekend provides the first opportunity to do some great things in our conference and make some noise and continue to climb the ladder, if you will, as it relates to the rankings. So we'll see. I'm excited. I'll be there. I hope y'all will too, for all that's listening. It'll be a great weekend. Hopefully great weather. I haven't looked yet. I try not to jinx it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens for the weather this weekend, but it should be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, no, this is I don't know. Hey, student athletes, they should not be looking at the rankings. Okay, they shouldn't be, but especially for softball, because there's so many different ones. I'm pulling them up as you were talking right there. I mean, there's just a handful of different rankings. But Baylor, anywhere from like the 10 to 20 range, somewhere in the teens. But this gives you a great chance to move on up. Oklahoma State, anywhere from like a 4 to an 8 on these different polls. And so, I don't know which one you look at the most, but I look at the one maybe where Baylor's the highest ranked. Okay.
Correct.
But there's a great chance. Hey, if you beat Oklahoma State, you win the series. And I think that's a lot of cases the goal here. You
Mm-hmm.
win 2 out of 3, then that's a big piece. And that's something that Baylor will look to do, no doubt about it, this weekend. 6:30 on Friday night, Saturday at 2 o'clock, and then game 3, the final game of the series, 1 o'clock on Sunday. All games can be seen on Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, but we also want to fill the stands.
That's
So
right.
hopefully you can make it out to a couple of the games. If you miss one, you can catch it on ESPN Plus. But yeah, I mean, great weather this weekend. Once again, I'm not going to look either to jinx it, but just looking forward to this opportunity on the softball side. On the men's side, they travel to open up their conference play, and they'll go to Houston. So a new conference member, that's how they'll start a Big 12 play. But, man, this time of the year, you got to love it. Baseball coming off a couple nice wins this past weekend over Oral Roberts, swept that, so got back on track. Another opportunity for them to start Big 12 play. And really, Corey, when you start Big 12 play, you want to start with a bang. You want to start with some success, right?
You absolutely do. And I love that Coach Thompson and his ball club out there are having the momentum that they're having going into conference. You said it, Justin. They're coming off a sweep of Oral Roberts and some big wins, and some of those were fights. Like those weren't. I don't want to call it a cupcake win, but it wasn't an easy win. They had to fight in there and they battled, and that's what you want going into conference, because conference is oftentimes that next level of play. And Coach Thompson and Coach Moore both mentioned how they intentionally scheduled hard in the non-conference to prepare for a conference. And they jokingly told our department at one of our staff meetings, they're like, I don't know if we'll be viewed as like, what were they doing, or great job, but their thought process was, how can we get our teams best prepared for the competition we're going to experience in conference? And what you want to do is you want to be able to start conference strong, and coming off of a series of wins helps you have that confidence to then be able to go into your opening weekend for conference competition and do it with this reckless abandon of like, we're here, we're ready to go, and we're ready to fight. And I'm excited to see what they do down in Houston, and how that goes, but really looking forward to what that program can do, because you're already seeing some changes from last year to this year, and it's just really encouraging for Coach Thompson and his coaches, but then for the team and the club overall to do some special things. And it starts this weekend with, well, it has started and it'll continue this weekend with what they do down in Houston.
And this will be the first true road games of the season for the Baylor baseball team. Of course, they played in the Shriners Children's College Showdown up there in Arlington at Globe Life Field. So that's a neutral site. Then they had 9 home games, and now you head on the road, first time on the road. And so looking forward to that. And also that always brings some different challenges. But I would say for both these programs, just win the series. Get 2 out of 3.
Right.
Icing on the cake would be the sweep. But let's get 2 out of 3. And it really starts with the Friday games. And for the men, for baseball on their side of it, 6:30 Friday, 6:30 Saturday, and Sunday, 1 o'clock. So note the different time there on Saturday night. So 2 night games and a day game, but really got to go get that first game on both sides.
You do. You got to take it one game at a time. You want to secure the first one. That gives you a higher likelihood of securing the series and winning the series. But yeah, the first one matters. And I didn't realize, Justin, until you mentioned it, that this is baseball's first true road trip. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage that. I know that coach will get them prepared, but there are some challenges that come with that, and some things that the team will have to work through. But let's focus on Friday for both programs. Let's knock it out, do what you need to do tomorrow, start with a win, and then we can then focus on winning the series. But definitely some great opportunity for both programs starting tomorrow.
Also, big weekend for Baylor track and field. It's the indoor NCAA Championships, and they're heading to Boston. And this is going to be exciting because they're going up there, Boston, Massachusetts, and an opportunity to go up there, which is unique. They don't always go up there, but at the track at New Balance. And so great opportunity for both the men's and women's teams, finishing up indoor season, and then they go right to outdoor right away.
Literally right away. What's really dope about where NCAAs is being hosted is that New Balance track is a new track. There's been a lot of talk about that track in the track world, and both on the collegiate level and on the pro level. So it'll be fun for our student athletes that are getting that opportunity to be able to experience that and experience competing there. But yeah, they'll go and do indoors. And I was just talking to Coach Ford a couple of days ago, and they come right back, and it's right into outdoor season. And for those of you that are listening from a track perspective, we'll have a couple of opportunities for you to see it in action because we'll have our home meets. But then if you want to see a little bit more action, we're hosting outdoor conference this year for Big 12s. So being able to come and support the Bears and also see our fellow Big 12 competitors later on this semester in May, and you'll have the opportunity to do that. So yeah, spring is busy for Coach Ford and his crew. And I'm hopeful that they do really well this weekend, but they're going to have short-term memory because it'll be right into outdoor season when they return.
Man, he's got a busy summer ahead too with Olympics, right?
That's
He's on the
right.
USA team as a coach. But yeah, no shortage. I mean, track is all the sports at Baylor. If you're listening out there, I mean, you think about football, the basketballs, really every sport is year round. But one sport that for sure year round, competing wise, and it's really official, is track. That's definitely a year round sport.
It absolutely is. And what's often forgotten about, if you're not in the track world, is we have a good number of our student athletes that are international. And there's some competitions that happen in the summer where they're off competing. And then if our students that are here that are national students are competing in USAs or things like that, once outdoor nationals happens, there's still outdoor collegiate nationals happens. There's still other competitions that they're participating in during the summer, regardless of if it's Olympic year or not. So when you think about year round, it truly is that. And especially if you're a distance runner, so then you're doing cross country in the fall and you're doing track in the spring, it can be a lot on those student athletes. And man, I don't know when they get their downtime, but hopefully they find time for that because they got to recover at some point.
That's too much dang running for me. Okay, I'm getting
Me too.
tired.
I didn't do it.
Yeah. It's not for everybody, but man, it's a sport that's really interesting and fun. And of course, the women for much of the season on the indoor side were top 25. I would love watching the NCAA championships on both the indoor, especially like the outdoor. That's a lot of fun to watch. And so looking forward to that, especially with an Olympics season coming up. You really want to check out track. So definitely will be more of the spotlight as we move into April and May, and some of these other sports go by the wayside. Another sport that will be moving into the spotlight coming up the next couple of months will be tennis. Big weekends coming up for both teams. Women's tennis coming off a nice win over Arizona State. And this weekend, they'll continue conference play. Arizona State, that was non-conference. Of course, next season, that will be conference. UCF comes into town on Friday at 6 o'clock at the Hurd Tennis Center. And also a matchup on Sunday for women's tennis against Houston at 2 o'clock. So women's tennis getting underway. Big win coming off the Arizona State one. And you want to build that and get a couple more conference wins. They were 2-0 in conference, got 2 wins over the weekend, West Virginia and Cincinnati. So trying to get 2 more here at home.
Yeah, it seems that everybody is trending up, which I just love. A lot of wins are happening across the board, and it's fun. I was just talking to Isabella, one of our women's tennis student athletes, yesterday. She popped into the office, and I was like, "Why are you here, spring break girl?" But they're competing, and that's why she's here. But it was fun to just talk to her about the season so far, and she was really pivotal in their win earlier in the week, and just hearing her discuss some of the new competition. We talked about them having UCF tomorrow, and that was one of the teams that she mentioned. Like they're a team that's traditionally really good, so that'll be some good competition for us. And then looking at other people in the conference, because I'm a tennis novice, so she was helping educate me on some things. But what's cool is just to see her joy and her love for her sport and the team. And I think that is a testament to how the team is able to rally, and you see those women getting behind each other and just battling to the end, especially in their most recent competition. So I'm looking forward to the weekend for them for sure. And my hope is that they continue to trend upward. The men are doing a phenomenal job as well. So I think we're just spoiled here, Justin. We have teams that are highly successful in getting stuff done, and it just makes it very fun to have these conversations and be able to support them.
Yeah, on that note with the men, number 25 in America, and they have a big matchup tonight against VCU at 6 o'clock. This match can also be seen on ESPN Plus. That's at the Herd Tennis Center, so looking forward to that one. And then on Friday, they take on Omaha, and also on Sunday, some more big-time matchup here. TCU, this is a doubleheader, but TCU at 12. More on that in a sec. Then Cleveland State at 7. But the matchup against TCU, this is on the road, and then they come back, at least the schedule, to come back to face Cleveland State that night. But probably split the teams up there, I'm guessing. But that's unique on the schedule. But focusing in on TCU, they're number 2 in the country. And this is a big-time rivalry, we know, in a lot of different sports. But one of the bigger sports for this rivalry is tennis, especially on the men's side, because TCU and Baylor have been so good for so long. Number 25 against number 2 this weekend. So looking forward to that one.
Yeah, for sure. And you know how I feel about opportunities where we get to go to people's homes and leave a salty taste in their mouth. I think it's a great opportunity for Coach Whitson's team to compete against one of our rivals. You said it, Justin. TCU is a rival in many respects across the board. But tennis specifically, and this will be a great win for our guys. So interesting split there with being in Fort Worth and then being back home against Cleveland State that same day. And they have a swing of several games over this upcoming weekend. But man, I would love nothing more than to be able to go to TCU and paint it green and gold, and have our guys come out with a dub and just use that in their quest for the goals that they have for themselves this season. So really looking forward to, don't want to step across any games, right? We're going to take it a game at a time, but really looking forward to that matchup in particular and seeing how that goes, and hopeful that results in a Baylor win.
All right, that'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Corey Bolts, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Thursday, and Sic 'em Bears.